Okay, so didn't really know what to talk about, so we're gonna. Hey, stop this. Sorry, that was my cat. Suddenly, he decided I wasn't allowed to pet him anymore. You could have just shrugged me off. You didn't have to bite me. Well, he didn't really bite me, more like he just grazed his teeth across my skin in a loving gesture of stop. So there's no actual bite, but still. You didn't have to do that. That still hurts. I'm about to spray you. You're in one of your moods, aren't you? I'll dump this on you. I will dump this on you. Is that what you want? It's the only warning you're gonna get. So now I'm allowed to pet you again, or no? You gonna shrug me off? Do you know what you want anymore? My cat is a fucking Sundara. Sometimes. Other times he's just an ass. Okay. Anyway, Chris and I were painting the bathroom trash can. I was going to post a picture of it, and then I realized, oh, I promised him we could do the clouds, because we didn't do the clouds. They're just regular, 5-color rainbows. I did one, he did one. Mine's not impressive at all. Barely any effort. It's just a rainbow on a trash can. It's not supposed to have a bunch of effort. Not for an adult who's been doing this for so long. Anyway, Chris is actually pretty decent for a kid his age. It's a little disproportionate, but he's 6. It's not bad. The colors didn't really mix as much. He managed to keep them mostly separate. He followed directions. And he learned from those directions and is able to apply them on his own. I'd say that's more than I can say for a lot of people. See, a lot of people are like, oh my god, kids who do amazing artwork, blah, blah, blah. Okay, first of all, I was one of those kids. Second of all, there were still kids that were better than me. I was winning contests with my art, but not everybody even applies to those contests. There were contests I didn't apply to either. It was actually part of the reason, though, that I found realism to be absolutely soul-sucking. If it's not specific for a piece and it doesn't actually express what I need it to, it's soul-sucking. Sorry. But that's what it's always going to be. Soul-sucking. Because realism for the sake of realism is pointless. It's great academically, but I picked up on it and got really bored with it really quickly. And I got into the stylized stuff. Now, granted, there were things I had to re-practice after that. Because I stopped drawing hands and stuff. That had more to do with emotional stuff going on at, a young age than anything else, though. That and nobody was making it my problem because Powerpuff Girls didn't have hands or feet, and I could just talk about them, and everyone would think that I just liked them. And I did. But it's not really the reason children draw things like that when they are completely capable of drawing hands and feet. I was fully capable of that, and I wasn't doing it. I'm going to admit this, I hate this sort of thing. Actually admit that yes, I felt helpless, and among other things, I was completely aware of the powerlessness of my situation. I can't believe I just admitted that those fuckers were right. But most of the time, I'm usually the one saying that they're wrong, so they're not always right. But I'm not afraid to say whenever somebody is. That being said, none of them were around, so nobody really cared about that. Yeah. Chris doesn't really know how to draw that stuff, and mostly his stuff isn't really displaying helplessness, if you know what any of this stuff is. It's like his hands are like as big as the sun, bigger than his face. I don't even know if you can even see it. He drew himself next to a giant rainbow and big hands so he could throw big balls up into the air, and they're supposed to be I think beach balls. He said, I don't know, I thought it was cute. Yeah, at his age, after everything, I wasn't much older than him. I started drawing people without hands or feet. And if I didn't draw them specifically, like, in a different way, as far as anatomy went, I would hide those things. Hands would be behind them, hidden in water, anything to stop them from just being there in the picture. It's like, I'm sorry, but in that respect, at least in my case, they had something on that. But as far as other stuff goes, especially as you get older and your mind becomes somewhat more complicated, it's a lot harder to put these things in a box because it has a lot to do with what things mean to you. You can only really say things mean certain things up to a certain point, like lack of hands, helplessness, and all that. An adult may have even adapted because of assertions like that to show helplessness in another way. Children have not done that yet. So it, generally speaking, is a little more applicable to children. But whenever you try to apply it to adults, sometimes it can. But it also involves talking to those adults, because you can't just attach meanings to their work without talking to them. Adults are a little more complicated. Not because, it's not just because of the developmental level, it's because we've been around long enough to have developed our own reasons for things. It's because the human mind is not linear. It does not always go in the same direction as it develops. So, essentially speaking, I've learned other ways to draw suffering that people won't even know are suffering. Psychology wouldn't know it was either, unless I told them what those things meant to me. A child has not done that yet, so I had a lot of stuff. I think I still have a small stack of it somewhere in this container I used to keep my drawings in. A couple years ago, my grandfather brought me a bunch of old containers I had my stuff in. Still not like toys or anything like that, just my art stuff. Because half my closet was art stuff. It was like, yeah, most of my stuff was art stuff. Art stuff. Yeah. So like I had toys, but I had nobody to play with, and I wasn't allowed to do anything. So, and then my grandmother would get mad at me anytime I wanted more books. She would just be like, you have enough books. See, to this day, my philosophy is that if you have read all of your books, and you don't have the desire to reread any more of them at the moment, you probably don't have enough books, which is probably a first world problem, which I'm okay with. I just like to read. Whether it's books or stuff online, I like to read. I'm not sure if I always would have liked to read as much as I do now if my history wasn't what it was. I'm not going to turn around and thank my grandmother or the state or anything for any of that crap. But I wasn't really allowed to have friends. And whenever I did try, it was like they knew I was different. The thing of it is I didn't start that way. Until the adults made a distinction, nobody treated me any different. And I think that is something important for people to realize. Whenever we treat children different and we make distinctions about their behaviors from other kids, there's actually a form of distinction that's going on, and it's a projection. If you don't do that, kids draw their own conclusions without an adult's point of view. And it's actually a lot more refreshing to deal with than adults' point of view in children. It was still more refreshing even as a child. Anyway, they decided that the first thing that they did whenever we moved out here was decide that my accent wasn't okay. Because we'd come from the East Coast, and out here, they don't make a distinction between North and South, and they think that the South are all racist, unless they actually come from there, and then they're like, I have no idea what these people are even talking about. But most people out here, and most people from the East Coast, don't stay out here. Not unless they are just trying not to be back there. It's not common, okay? But it does happen. That's all I'm trying to say. It is more common that people from back east come out here and then hate it and go back. Arizona is a shithole to the people who grew up here. Most of us. And, not exactly impressive to people who don't come from here either. So, yeah. I have no doubt that, we would have eventually gone back if Mom didn't go through with that plan to go to Colorado. But we never got to do that because she died. Anyway, I don't know what to say. I guess I have a painting I'm working on. I'm waiting for chicken to boil. Because we ran out of broth. Ouch. And that's basically just another way of making broth. And Chris wants ramen. And I don't want to cook with those packet things. What?
You want to see something?
Give me a minute.
Okay.
Not very good lighting, is it? Whoop. Yay! Okay, so I'm not even close to done with this. I actually had somebody look at me and say, yeah, right, we are our own worst critics. And I'm like, no, really, it's not even close to done. I still need to define the fish, a few other things. I have some more of the weed I need to do up front, give it some depth. Yeah. Plus, this hand, not even close to done. That's the part I want to look vaguely realistic. I want it to look like the hand is reaching out of the painting. So, yeah, I'm weird. That's okay, though. What do you want to show me, Chris? Thank you for letting me finish what I was saying. Yeah, it spins fast. Isn't that the one that transforms into Bumblebee?
The head. There's somewhere.
Where's the Bumblebee's head?
I don't know.
What? Where's Bumblebee's head?
I don't know. What's in my closet? I can't find it no more.
Why'd you take it off?
I don't know. It looks creepy. He has a tiny head right here. It looks like it. Ah. It looks like he has a tiny head.
Alright.
Yeah.
I love you. Go
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
Go play. Go play.
I was looking at the camera.
Stop crashing my blog post thing. Goddess knows this thing's gonna be disorganized as hell. That's okay, I used to rip the heads off my Barbie dolls. Except we could actually put those back on. I'm not so sure I can fix Bumblebee. Pretty sure that's plastic. Solid plastic. And that I have no idea how that even happened, and I'm not sure I want to know. Was it him and his friend? Was it just him? I don't know, and frankly, the answer scares me. So yeah, somebody actually made a suggestion that I make her ginger, because the white is just kind of there for where does the hair go. A lot of this is still in base layer in the painting, so if you've ever painted anything, you know what base layer is. The fish are beyond base layer, but they're not done yet either. The wheat, I wanted the field to kind of work its way up, but there's also something else I want to do that kind of comes up from it, not just in the background. That was actually an accident to begin with, and then I I was like, oh, I like this, and I'm still deciding whether I want to go full Aurora Borealis or not. Only one tiny spot about this big was actually an accident. The rest was totally on purpose because I liked it. What? You just want to be down here while I'm doing this. Give me 2 minutes and I'll finish up.
I can color my bedroom.
Yes, you can color in your bedroom. I love you.
I'm going to color this book. Simple workbook?
No, not by yourself, honey. You need an adult for that.
I want to help. I know what to do. I'm someone that let us. And I know what to do.
Yes, you do.
I can
Just get a regular coloring book, honey. He likes to do worksheets.